You know, some thrillers are just there to give you a quick scare. But then you have a book like Taylor Adams's Her Last Breath. And this thing wants to completely rewire how you see reality itself. We're about to dissect a story so claustrophobic, it feels less like reading and more like something you have to survive. A masterclass in deception that starts from the very first page.
Some books you read, others you endure. In this quote, it's not just praise, it's more like a warning. Taylor Adams uses the setting itself as a weapon, trapping not just his characters, but you, the reader, in a place where every single sound is a threat and every shadow is hiding another layer of terror.
On the surface, the whole setup feels kind of familiar. You've got two old friends, Tess and Allie, heading out for a caving trip. But let's be clear, this isn't a story about adventure. This is a meticulously planned nightmare, a brutal fight for survival hundreds of feet below the earth. And here's the first rule you need to know about this story. Absolutely nothing is what it seems.
And that right there leads us to our first really big idea here. In this book, the environment isn't just some passive backdrop. No, the cave itself is the main antagonist, an active, breathing participant in the horror that dictates all the rules of the game.
So I want you to just forget everything you think you know about those tourist caves with their nice paved paths and pretty lights. The place we're going, the Devil's Staircase, is described as being geologically ugly, like a gunshot wound in the earth. It's hostile, it's a natural mousetrap that stinks of decay from all the things that have wandered in and never found their way back out.
I mean, this cave isn't just a setting, it's an active predator. The darkness inside it isn't just the absence of light, it's a physical, suffocating thing. The geology creates these whispering galleries, tricking your ears so a sound from 100 feet away feels like it's right behind you. And then you have places like the drain pipe, these fatal funnels, these tight, claustrophobic tubes where you can't even turn around. They're designed to trap you.
Yeah, the cave is a monster, no question. But what if that monster is just the hunting ground for something worse? And that question is what pivots us from the raw environmental danger to the human threat. And this, right here, is where the real psychological terror kicks in.
And that human threat really centers on our protagonist, Tess. She's a character who is just defined by her anxiety. But the book asks this incredible question: what if a lifetime of trauma, the very thing that makes you feel weak, actually becomes your single greatest weapon in a fight for your life?
Okay, so you've got these two friends, and they could not be more different. Tess is a quiet legal assistant, just crippled by anxiety and claustrophobia. Her best friend, Allie, she's this world-traveling influencer. She's bold, she's confident, she's used to being in control. Allie's scars are like trophies from her adventures. Tess's scars are all on the inside. This dynamic, the protector and the one who supposedly needs protecting, is the crack where the entire nightmare begins.
Now, to really get who Tess is, you have to understand where she came from. She survived an absolutely horrific childhood, abused by her own mother. And to cope, she developed this incredibly sophisticated defense mechanism that she calls being a changeling. She taught herself how to lie, how to hide, how to perfectly mimic whatever emotion her abuser needed to see just to make a dangerous situation survivable.
You know, we all know fight or flight, right? But it turns out that's not the whole story. Trauma experts talk about other responses, and Tess's entire childhood was a training ground for two of them, fawn and freeze. She learned to appease a threat by becoming submissive, by making herself small. What society might look at and call weakness is, in fact, a highly evolved survival strategy. And this is the incredible part. All these things, these behaviors born from just pure survival, they literally become her superpower inside that cave. Her learned ability to hide her fear, to change her entire persona on a dime, to disconnect from sheer terror, it lets her think, lets her strategize, even while she's being hunted. Her anxiety becomes a kind of hypervigilance that is almost never wrong.
So she was ready to face the monster in the dark. But what happens when the telling of that survival story becomes its own weapon, its own kind of deception? This is where the book adds another, even more complex layer.
Okay, this is where things get really clever. This is the novel's most brilliant, game-changing move. You see, we aren't just living through the events in the cave as they happen, we're hearing it all recounted by a survivor, from a hospital bed hours after it was all over. And that one choice, it changes everything.
So think about this. The book is constantly switching between two timelines. 1 minute, you're deep underground with them, feeling the rock press in, hearing every terrifying sound.
And the next, you're in a sterile, quiet hospital room, listening to the story being told to a detective. This structure forces you to constantly second-guess what's real. You are both a witness to the horror and a juror in the aftermath.
There's actually a name for this storytelling technique. It's called the Rashomon effect. You have the same single event, but it's being filtered through multiple people: the survivor, the killer, the detective, and they all have completely different versions of reality. The truth isn't solid anymore, it's subjective, it's warped by trauma, by deception, by suspicion.
And this is what makes the second half of the book so tense. The detective, Lila Washington, is smart, and she starts picking up on these little cracks in the survivor's story. Every inconsistency, every emotional reaction that feels just a little bit off, it becomes a clue. And suddenly you, the reader, you become a detective too, trying to solve two mysteries at once. What really happened down in that cave, and can we even trust the person telling us the story?
And all of this, all these layers of deception, they all build to this final, absolutely chilling theme. The book becomes this incredible exploration of the performance of identity, forcing us to ask a really uncomfortable question: who is the real monster? So on one side, you have the obvious bad guy, Jacob Herman, the killer they hired, the guy stalking them in the dark with that terrifying red light. He's the monster you can see. But then there's the hidden threat, the real threat: Allie's boyfriend, Ethan. He's a pediatrician, described as this goofy, harmless airhead. And it turns out that underestimating him is the most fatal mistake anyone can make.
So why? What was the motive for all this brutality? It's so mundane, it's terrifying. Allie was pregnant. The police find a receipt for 6 pregnancy tests, and the whole picture just snaps into focus. This wasn't some random attack. It was a hit. The nice guy doctor, Ethan, hired a killer to erase a problem that was going to ruin his perfect image and his career. He played the part of a fool so brilliantly that nobody would ever look twice.
And that's really what this book is trying to tell us, isn't it? It's about the stories people perform for us and our own willingness to just believe them. The most dangerous monsters are rarely the ones who are baring their teeth. They're the ones hidden in plain sight, the ones protected by our own assumptions. So that's the question it leaves you with, the one that really gets under your skin. Who's the real monster here? Is it the person with the knife, doing the awful things in the dark? Or is it the one who planned it all, smiling in the light? That's a question that is not going to leave you for a long time.
Thanks for watching. I hope you got some value out of this book breakthrough. Your feedback means the world to me, so drop a comment and let me know what book I should cover next. If you're loving these insights, please subscribe and share this video with someone who loves reading. Hit the bell icon so you don't miss out. See you soon.